SWIMMR is Space Weather Instrumentation, Measurement, Modelling and Risk. And that really captures all the things that we're trying to do. When we talk about space weather, what we're talking about is the chain of effects that starts really inside the sun or at the surface of the sun. By changing the magnetic structure of the sun, in turn that changes the way that the solar wind flows out into the heliosphere where all the planets are, the interaction that it has with the planets and their magnetic environments. What we're really interested in is the impacts on technology. That can obviously include satellites in Earth orbit at different altitudes, communication satellites, weather monitoring, environmental monitoring, things like electricity distribution grids, gas pipelines, and so on. It's trying to predict when a space weather event will happen and the kind of mitigation measures that you could take to reduce the impact. Put your satellite in a safe operating mode, for instance. One of the main motivations for doing SWIMMR is that space weather is identified as a national risk. So it's on the National Risk Register, the same as pandemic flu, for example. And although it's identified as a kind of infrequent risk, the consequences of a major space weather event, that kind of one-in-a-century event, would be very profound given our dependence on space-based technology. The SWIMMR programme consists of 11 projects. It's a programme of UKRI, the Strategic Priorities Fund, 4-year programme, £20 million of funding, led by the Science and Technology Facilities Council, in close collaboration with NERC, the Natural Environment Research Council. So almost all of our projects are now running, and the outcome will be the transfer of the models into the Met Office Space Weather Operations Centre, which is the UK's prediction centre and risk evaluation centre to increase its capability and diversify its way of operating. The projects we're running are things that enable the kind of technological and engineering capabilities of STFC to be brought to the fore for the purposes of space weather research and modelling. One of the most important groups in the SWIMMR programme is our Strategic Advisory Board. And that's configured to include not just scientists, but also industry partners and government partners. So the people who are making the decisions and then the people who are the end users of the data. And that's where we hope to be doing a lot of our community building, where we're drawing on the widening circle of external people with whom we work to A, publicise what we're doing in SWIMMR, and B, identify synergies with things that are happening outside the programme where we can contribute. And so ultimately I would hope that there is a bridge across through the operations centres between the space debris and satellite monitoring community and the space weather community, where they're using our predictions and we are using their observations. Space weather is an international problem. It can only be solved through international collaboration. And what SWIMMR is doing is bringing out some of the UK's capabilities in this area to be addressed and exemplified in an international arena, and then hopefully that's our contribution to the whole international effort which will be pushed forward. The major success I think we've had so far is to get such a talented set of researchers and modellers and hardware builders involved in the programme.